Hey y'all. Okay, so scars and women of color. First off, let me just say like the myth that as a woman of color you're gonna automatically have a bad scar, you're going to keloid. It's that's I have not seen that. That's not true. Women of color, women of all colors have the ability to have fine line thin scars. Now, does everybody heal perfectly? No. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like that's just not realistic. But I haven't seen an increased rate based on color in keloiding or thick scars. Okay, so some people come in and they've been told because you're a woman of color, because you're black, you're gonna have a keloid or your scar is gonna do this automatically by nature of your race. That's false. That's a myth. In interviews, I commonly get asked like magazine interviews, etc. They're like, "What do you do differently for women of color?" And I'm like, this whole myth, like we have got to get rid of this myth that women of color like have horrible scars. Um, Now, one thing I've noticed more so in women of color, I will say, is pigmentation of the scars, like dark scars. And for that, what I'll do is they're like specialized compounding creams. You have to call them into a pharmacy. That's not something you get over the counter. That kind of help lighten them. I'm actually looking into like a laser that could potentially help lighten them. That part I'm thinking about, and that part I will acknowledge. But having bad scars because you're black, I refuse to get on board with that false myth. Now, with that said, I have the silicone scar complex, which is part of my skincare line that I formulated. It has silicone, it has niacinamide. We always apply that to everybody's scars at about 3 weeks after surgery. We either will do this or we will do silicone scar tape. Any brand, it doesn't really matter the brand. Now the reason I like the tape and the gel. We really give people a preference, but I use the tape a lot because I find that it creates a sub or a micro environment that reduces tension. One of the main things that causes scars to get wide is tension. That's why we always counsel people on the importance of like following our instructions, no heavy lifting, no pulling and things like that, because that constant pulling pressure is going to cause a scar to get wide. Um, Now, in all patients, there are things we do, right? Like, for example, I talk a lot about the tummy tucks, and what I do with that is the progressive tension sutures, where basically, you pull down. You imagine this is the flap. You pull it down, you stitch it down. You stitch it down sequentially, so that when you get to the incision, there's not a lot of pull, there's not a lot of give because it's tacked down. I feel like that helps a lot with scars, but I have just not seen and I've been in practice some time. Like I'm making this based on the preface of experience and just treating. I have a very diverse practice, women of all colors, and I have seen a lot, and I have not seen this myth that people have been told that women of color have horrible scars. It's just universally not true. And again, not everybody's going to heal perfectly, but there's things you can do if that happens, right? Because we can't predict. We can do everything the same each time. We can't predict how your body's going to heal. Okay, I hope that helps answers this question. All right, y'all. Catch y'all later.